You've eaten. You've already eaten already. But for some reason, they're still hungry. I remember last year when Real Madrid beat Liverpool, and like the title of my reaction was UCL Heritage, and Real Madrid, Real Madrid proved their UCL heritage because at every turn last season, I said no, PSG gonna go and get him. I said no, Chelsea gonna get him. I said no, City gonna get him. I said no, Liverpool, and they just kept on saying nope, half up with different, half up with different. Like we're built of a different fiber. Here is because just bear with me because I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. But here is my thoughts process here. So this channel started with the Champions League. I've been watching the Champions League since 1995. I've never missed yeah. Well, so the only final that I didn't watch, but I think I watched half of it was the 03 final. I sort of watched half of it because I was doing something at the time. What's it called? But I've pretty much watched every final. I've been watching the Champions League religiously since 1995 when, of course, Ajax won it with Kluivert, Yari Lepman, Finidi George, Kano Wankwa, and so forth. Davids. And I've always felt that, you see, the World Cup, that's the big boy trophy. That is the trophy that means the most because of how much people want and the people's desire of that World Cup. But the Champions League is the best of the best because the Champions League is the best players in the world based on the spending power of European teams. And because of the nature of club football and how consistent you can be within your team, the highest level of football is the Champions League. The football that means the most, that has the greatest meaning, is the World Cup. The World Cup, that's one that means the most. That's the one that's with the greatest meaning because the World Cup is football. World Cup is football. And that is what Pele created the essence of why the World Cup means the most. But the highest level in terms of quality, not meaning, World Cup will always mean more, but in terms of quality is the Champions League. So this is the best, the best, the best. So the best football you will see in terms of quality, the best quality football is in the Champions League, because we have more time to spend with the players. Because of our spending power, we get the best players from Africa, best players from South America, best players from the Middle East, best players from Europe, and so forth, all within this one team. So winning the Champions League means something. And I remember when, just going through the years, and I was like, man, no one has ever defended the UCL title. For sure, everyone thought it was going to be Barcelona. Like, when we saw what happened in 2009, we're like, oh, it's definitely going to be them. But we're like, okay, 2011, the most wanted game we've ever seen, the game that gave Fergie epilepsy. We're like, oh no, these guys are 100%. Like, this is because we'd never seen a team that dominant before. We had never seen a team control a game to the degree that Barcelona did in 2011. So the assumption was this will be the first team that will defend their title. Ramirez had other ideas. Torres had other ideas. Drogba had other ideas. Chelsea were like, nah. So just thought, oh, this is gonna never happen. So when Real Madrid did it against that Juventus team, because let's not be revisionist, 2017, it might have been even 51-49 in favor of Juventus based on nobody had ever defended their title ever before. And that was a Juve team that kept out Barcelona over 180 minutes. So people were like, oh, this is a close game. Again, unstoppable force meets the movable object. But we also thought that no one's ever defended it. This is one of the best Juve teams ever. Juve will win it. And then they did it again, 3-3 piece. So what I thought was that was just like an anomaly right there. So fast forward to last year now, and I think last year for me was Real Madrid's greatest ever victory, easily, because that is the most dramatic and the greatest UCL run in UCL history, what Real Madrid did, based upon how their backs were against the wall and how they kept on finding answers. And I do believe, because I try to understand this. And I think what it is this. When you come into a club, there's an aura. Clubs have certain auras. Because you know, when you step into the club, you take a tour around the club and so forth. So when you go into Real Madrid, you go through the trophies. You look at the history of guys. And they have the information about what these guys did. And you just read upon the history of the club. You look upon the history of the club. And once you step into the dressing room, there is a mentality. You see, I've always said that football is 30% talent, ability, 70% mentality, psychology. If you're in the right frame of mind, you can achieve anything. In life, but in sports and in football as well. Wrong frame of mind, you can be the most talented player in the world. If you have the wrong frame of mind, you cannot succeed. So, I just think that Real Madrid showed last year that they're built differently. So this comes to us of this year right now. Before last night's war crime, before last night's adoption, gentrification, and stereotyping, I was like, I never wanted to entertain the idea of Real Madrid doing it again. I was like, I still can't understand Zidane's three-peats. I still need to understand it, and we still need to have a proper convo about that. I still don't understand what they did last year to City, PSG, Chelsea, and Liverpool. But before Liverpool got legally adopted, I was like, I was not going to entertain them. I was like, okay, City, Napoli, Benfica. I even threw Liverpool in the mix. But after last night, I slept. I slept like really hard. Like I had like a really deep sleep. And I've been thinking. I'm looking at the UCL field. I'm looking at the competition out there. And a very scary thought has hit me. I'm like, hold up. If Real Madrid just zero in, focus in, don't have any key injuries, they can do it. And I was like, wait, hang on, wait a minute. We already don't know what they did last year, because last year may have been an anomaly, but we still don't understand what they did last year. And I just thought last year was just like a last hurrah of like, puts us in as one of the greatest UCL generations of all time. Okay, cool. But I was like, okay, but you're done now. Now, okay, City, can you get your first? Can Liverpool come in again? Or can Napoli, Benfica surprise some people? What can Bayern do? Can PSG finally get it done? But what I just saw from Real Madrid in that second half was when you're experienced at something, it doesn't guarantee you a dub. But experience is something that you should never, ever underestimate. People who know how to do something several times, when their backs are against the wall, they draw upon that experience. So when Real Madrid were 2-0 down, they were like, we've been here. But it's Anfield. We've been here. It's Anfield. Look at what Liverpool done to several teams in Anfield. This might be one of the big fortresses. Remember, we're like, we get that. We appreciate that. But we're Real Madrid. We're different. And shout out to this being Anfield and everything. Now, that's all cool. But we're built differently. And we've been here. So, guys, I'm scared. I'm scared because of what Real Madrid are trying to do to the Champions League, of what Madrid are trying to do to my competition. You see, I don't give a damn. I will keep on saying Pep is going to win it this year, because Pep can't not win the UCL having a goal scoring freak like Haaland and spending almost 3 bill. You can't have an entire state's funding and not give me a UCL. So I'll say Pep is going to win it this year, but I'm just keeping my eye at Real Madrid, because I'm keeping my eye on people who created this UCL language and don't want to go away. And you know what is so scary? This is scary thing. I'll leave you guys with this. Modric, Kroos, Benzema. There's a hunger. and that's what's scary. PSG haven't eaten. City haven't eaten. The guys who haven't even had a meal. Benzema, Modric, Kroos. You've eaten. You've already eaten already. But for some reason, they're still hungry. And for some reason, they're like, no, we want to win it again. And again. And again. And when a team is experienced, have already eaten, but can somehow convince themselves to still be hungry and starving, it's when you've got to get very, very scared.